biggest, I think, takeaway that I would take away, or the biggest takeaway taking or moving into the Miami game would be one of the positives that I took also from the Clemson game. That Clemson game could have gotten way out of hand. It could have been one of these Louisville, Wake Forest games or one of those, but that fight after getting down 3-14, and I think that's one of the biggest things Mike has done with this team is to get them to fight in situations when the last couple of years they just laid down. That 2018 Clemson game really comes to mind, where it was just so ugly, where it literally looked like the team just quit. And I don't think that this team does that. And today, I mean, how that game started, it's just there's been too many situations like that the last couple of years where even though we're maybe not that good, we have better talent than who we're playing, and we just aren't in it for some reason. And I think that being able to figure that out enough to not give up and realize, hey, it's not a very good day, but we can still not just win, but we can still, win by 25. That was a little reassuring to me. I know that they keep going back to the Bobby Bowden. First you lose pretty big, then you start to lose by a little, then you win by a little, then you win by a lot. And I would say that we're kind of in that in between by win by a little as you try to move towards winning by a lot, that sometimes you win games against very inferior talent, which I think Georgia Tech was by quite a bit, not to mention covering the spread today. And if you'd have told me that they were going to play like that and have those two crazy turnovers that they had and still cover, I'd have said, no way. But I think that was the craziest part, is to still cover, still win by 25 and walk away from that game and saying, man, we didn't play very good. And it's been a while since we could say that. I saw a statistic that it's the first time Florida State had beat Georgia Tech since 2014. And, that loss in 2015 on that blocked field goal, that was kind of, I feel like, the start of Jimbo's reign going downhill a little bit. Irvin, what do you think of Fuller too high safety defense? It seems like it's been not break instead of bringing pressure. The offense has improved in 3 years. I completely agree. And I'm glad you said that. It was a comment that I wanted to make. There was two times today in the second half that Florida State had Georgia Tech back. 3rd and 19 was one of them. 3rd and 20 was the other. On the 3rd and 19, I think on 3rd down, Georgia Tech got like 17 yards and still ended up punting. But still, 17 yards on 3rd and 19 against that team should not happen. And then on the 3rd and 20, they actually converted it, completed what was probably about a 24, 25-yard pass, but it had been holding, and so it got moved back. But those were two plays that really stood out to me, just like you're saying here, Irvin, where it feels like, whether that's Fuller's approach or whether it is a don't lose mentality or trying not to lose mentality. I hate to say this, but coming back to that Jacksonville State game last year, it just seems like in certain situations he just does not have that killer instinct that we let's sit back and we'll give them 15 yards, but we're not going to give them the full 19. I don't like that. I don't like that approach. I do think the too high safety defense has quite a bit to do with that. And I don't know if it's, if internally they feel like they still just do not have the players to run a more aggressive approach on defense. I still feel like through the last couple of years, some of our more talented players has still been in the secondary, but I don't feel like there's been a ton of development in the secondary under Fuller. And I'd be interested on your thoughts on that, Irvin.